What is the best thing I love about Geotastic map making? It's a lot of features actually. The best what I can think of is probably the possibility of making drop groups. Why is there this function? Well, it's mainly because you can go to local game, and if map maker chose to use the complex map and he made the drop groups, you don't need to play everything what is in the map. You can change the content, and let's say I want to play only Chile, Canada and Botswana. Easy as that. Or there are also tags, so if I want to play only Europe, I can remove all and play only Europe, and everything that's in Europe, it's turned on. I can click save, and I can also choose if I use the drop group balancing or evenly balanced, which means that every drop group have the same possibility of appearing in the game. So I can practice better, I can get more from just one map. So let's talk about map making by creating one. Here we are in Geotastic map editor menu, which you can enter from homepage. I made a few folders to keep my maps organized, and let's try to make Polish town science map, which is continuation of my map series consisting only handpicked locations with these signs you can see when entering the town. So, to get all the sorting options, we need to create a complex map. Name and description are only required fields. But there's a lot more. You can upload a thumbnail, define setting presets for this map, like for example full score radius or setting maximum score distance. I set no move as a default. You can add a few text for better filtering. You can invite your friends so they can work with you on your map, or you can specifically choose players who can play your map without setting it to public. Let's just quickly append it to the correct subfolder. And go straight to drop editor. I create a drop group simply by clicking on the map and I give it a name. I suggest you to include a prefix in the group name. Why? I will explain later. In my case, I use a shortcut for this map, town science-Poland. Players in lobbies don't need to see the prefix, so I use public group name override. Click save, and here we go, first drop group. Click on it to start adding the locations. What worked for me to find a town sign is to go directly to Google Maps, mark the town, and click on the road at the city boundary. Sometimes it took more searching, sometimes less. Copy the URL of the location and in Geotastic drop editor, click on add drop via URL. Paste it, save it. We can go back now to see the saved location. To change the view, you click on the drop, adjust it however you want and click update drop. You can also create the drops by clicking directly on the streets. Let's delete these last drops. In the upper toolbar, there is also a tool which you can use to delete drops within one click. To exit this deletion mode and to create more street view drops, select the first button. You can also delete the drops by right-clicking and selecting delete the drop. In the toolbar, there are also options to change the map style and to view the street view blue lines. Let's make a new drop group and repeat the process. Just make sure you are in the correct drop group. It might be a good idea to name your drops, so you can see which drop from the list on the left side belongs to which drop on the map. Let's take a look at how tags work. So just to show you, I added tag east to Lublin Voivodeship and a tag west to Lubus Voivodeship. Tags give players more options to filter what they want to play. Let's see the player's perspective in local lobby. If you can't find your newly created map, click reload in the top right corner or press F5 and search for the map again. Now we see there are two drop groups in this map and we can change what we want to play by clicking on the drop groups or tags. No move we set up as default in map editor is there. We can change a few more settings like timer and number of rounds and playtest our map. And one more thing about drop groups, and it's very important. They are not dependent on the map where you create them. If you delete a complex map, drop groups it contained are not deleted with the map. By the way, I changed the prefix because I'm working on the actual Polish Town Science map and I don't want to mix them up. If I delete these drop groups from my map, I can still find them in drop groups section. Let me search the prefix we used and now we see all the drop groups from our map. And we see there if the drop group is assigned to a map. Well, only after we refresh the page. To add back the drop group to the map, we need to go to the map and click Manage Drop Groups. The second line is for searching the drop groups that are already in this map. And in the first line, we can search for drop groups that are not in this map. So let's paste there our prefix and let's put our drop group back to this map. We can even delete the map. But drop groups are still there in drop groups section. And it tells us they are not assigned to any of the maps. We can permanently delete the drop group here. Now let me add every sign of the town which has more than 20,000 inhabitants. For you it was 1 second, for me it was 6 hours on my stream. Before publishing the map we have to talk about balancing. It's not that important for this map, because there are just a few drop groups and this map is just for getting a better overview of towns in Poland. But let's do it anyway. Balancing in complex maps is done on drop groups. By default, balancing points or peak bias is set to 1 for each drop group. What does it mean? It means that every drop group has the same probability of being picked in the game. Possible values are from 0.1 to 1000. Geotastic is not a calculator, so I like to use some kind of spreadsheet editor. Microsoft Excel, LibreOffice Calc or Google Spreadsheets. So, how to get all of your drop groups to spreadsheet? Remember when I set up a prefix for every drop group? We can go to drop groups, search for our prefix, and then copy the table and paste it as unformatted text. Delete what we don't need. Now we can convert these numbers to something more familiar. Let's quickly calculate some percentage and format it accordingly. This value looks pretty high, so let's lower it a bit. It looks better now. Now we are going to rewrite these values into drop groups. I'm not rewriting the percentages, because I would have to write a decimal point everywhere, and I would have to round every value to one decimal point, which would be too much of unnecessary work. Rewriting the first column will work the same. I'm also adding number of drops to each drop group, so the player knows how many rounds they have to play to get through them all. Last thing to do, set map visibility to public, so everyone can play the map. I have also created a new thumbnail so it matches other maps from my Town Science series. And that's it. Now I can enjoy new struggle discovering that I don't know any of Polish towns. Nice. Thank you for watching, happy map making, and of course learning Polish towns. Bye bye, see you next time.